Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to IGN's News, Games, and More. It's the show where we talk about the news, the games, and the other stuff, which is all encompassed under more. I am Max Scoville, and I'm joined today by Casey DeFritas,
Hello.
Matt Kim, and Seth Macy. We have all sorts of very exciting things to discuss today, such as the Pikmin and the Mortal Shell and the new Ridley Scott HBO Max series. But first things first, I think a lot of people are real hot and bothered about Pikmin 3. Casey...
Yes.
Seth, you guys just got done with Nintendo Voice Chat. Why don't you just get us up to speed on everything going on with Pikmin 3 Deluxe? Casey, start us off here.
There is so much going on with Pikmin 3 Deluxe. I don't know really what I want to start off on, but I guess I'll start it off by saying that Pikmin 3 Deluxe is coming out in October, on October 30th for $59.99. And everyone must be thinking, wow, that's really expensive for a Wii U port, which is what everyone says whenever there's a Wii U port ported to the Switch. But this time the Deluxe actually means something because there are a bunch of new features, including co-op for the entirety of the story mode. There are new side story missions with Olimar and Louie. There's a new Plickopedia feature, which is returning from Pikmin 2. There are new difficulty options, a lock-on targeting, which I know is a big deal for a lot of people who don't know how to shoot things without lock-on targets. Well, you know what I mean. It's Pikmin. You got it. And there's optional hits. It comes with all of the Pikmin 3 DLC, and that's about it. There's a ton of new stuff with it. I think everyone is excited because Nintendo hasn't announced really anything else coming this year. Besides, I think we're getting another Pokemon Snap this year eventually. But other than that, the year is completely empty as far as, first-party Nintendo games go. So I think Pikmin 3 Deluxe kind of is holding us over, wetting our whistle a little bit about it. I don't know how much you want me to talk about this because I have more things to say.
Seth, why don't you chime in here? What are your thoughts on those Pikmin?
I love Pikmin 3 a lot. I think it's so charming and wonderful. And the cool thing about the Pikmopedia?
Pikmopedia?
Yeah, well, I guess it's not a cool thing, but every year for about 3 weeks, the founder of Pikmopedia asks you for $3.
That's okay. That's funny. That's pretty good.
Isn't that pretty good?
It's a good
I
one.
meant to do that one on NBC, but I held it for you guys. No, I love this game so much. It's so adorable. Like, I say Pikmin, and whenever I meet somebody named Brittany, in my head I call them Brittany because that's how they pronounce it. And I just love Pikmin. It's so delightful. Mm-hmm. And as Brian Altano once said, amazing fruit textures.
Fair enough. Matt, are you a Pikmin person at all, or do you like the Pikmin?
I've never played a Pikmin, but
okay, thank God I'm not alone here. I never got into Pikmin.
I've never played a Pikmin. I don't get it. It confuses and scares me. No, I'm fine. I'm interested. I've heard nothing but good things, but I didn't have a Wii U at the time that the original Pikmin 3 came out, so I was just like, well, I guess I'm not playing Pikmin this time around either. And but I hope that basically this confirms that every Wii U game in existence will eventually come to the Switch, as is.
So I think that's sort of the big concern here, is that a lot of the Wii U owners are sort of they're a little bit tired of this, and I think that people who didn't have a Wii U, of which there are many people,
many more.
There are 13 million people who did have Wii U, but the people who didn't are kind of like, oh, cool, it's on Switch. I jumped on Switch. That's nice to hear. And I don't know. I guess the argument of what constitutes a new game and what constitutes a game that's worth $60 is still open for debate. But one of the comments we got on IGN.com from BoogieB423 said, it would be real swell if Nintendo rewarded all 15 of us Wii U owners and at least gave us a discount on the game if we already purchased it on the Wii U.
That'd be sweet.
I mean, they have that. It's called selling your old copy. But yeah, I mean that's a fair argument. Like to pay for a remastered game from 2013 for $60 is sort of, even with some extra stuff in there, feels a little bit steep.
Yeah, I think the counter to that would be like, I'm sure, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm sure there are double the amount of people who own a Switch than people who've ever owned a Wii U.
Double is low.
Multiple. Basically, more people have the Switch than anyone ever did with the Wii U, and so for a lot of us, Pikmin 3 might as well be a new game, It was a new game on the Wii U, which I never had. It might as well be new now because I can finally play it.
Yeah, Switch is already over 4 times what the Wii U had.
Yeah.
I'm honestly kind of concerned about this game coming to to the Switch. Just take an example, The World Ends With You was a DS game which had really great touch controls, but they ported it to the Switch after porting it to the phone. But the Switch instead of using touch controls, you had to point your Joy-Con and kind of use it as a clicker. And I'm wondering if they're going to use that same strategy with porting Pikmin 3 to the Switch, because a lot of people were not happy with that change in The World Ends With You, and the control scheme just was bad, to put it frankly. So I'm wondering if they're gonna. There's no way Nintendo will make the same mistake, right?
I mean, that's open to debate. Again, it's weird to find out about a game that's coming out, in October. It's a known quantity, but at the same time, it isn't. To have like major lingering stuff. So like that is one big issue with Nintendo porting stuff from previous systems, is that several of them have more than one screen, and to sort of suddenly drag and drop stuff onto something that has one screen, you've got to make some adjustments there, especially because like a touchscreen with a stylus is a different experience than like a touchscreen that you can just sort of tap and swipe on. Seth, can you tell us about like how the Pikmin touch controls work and how you maybe would perceive them even working on Switch?
Well, it's funny that you should mention that, because I actually never played it with the touch controls, because that was not something that they included when the game released. That was an update much later on.
Oh, wow.
Everyone just raved about. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a non-issue then. It's
it's a non-issue. Just kidding then.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Well, you solved my problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Look at me.
I just remember the touch controls like being so good.
Well, that was when they finally added them. Everyone was like, "Why didn't they add this at the start? This is so much better." And maybe I should go back, drag the old Wii U out of storage, hook it up, because I actually never beat this game. I got to the last boss, I could not beat it, and I gave up in frustration.
Huh. Well, I mean, as someone who never messed with the Pikmin, I'm curious about this strange universe and who this retired spaceman is, and why he hates these rats so much and wants to catch them all.
It's the rats that hate him.
I do want to point out Dave's Midnight Gaming and Entertainment Hours is okay. How is Nintendo responsible for The World Ends With You controls? They're not. I was just saying, are they going to make the same mistake that the developers of The World Ends With You made? To clear things up.
Fair enough. Another side comment here. Collusion Works says Switch is just the Wii U Deluxe. Fair enough.
Pretty much.
And where is Pikmin 4? Didn't Miyamoto said it was ready? Say it was ready years ago. Yeah, that's another thing. Is I think like people who did go out and vote with their wallet and support Pikmin 3 are probably a little irked that they have to do that again to try to like move the needle on Pikmin 4.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know anything about Pikmin 4? Is that just
we know nothing? I actually had completely forgotten about it until today.
It's got Pikmans in it. That's all we know.
Okay, well there we go. Pikmin 3 Deluxe coming to Nintendo Switch October 30th for 60 big buckaroos.
Also, why is it coming out around Halloween? I guess they usually have games come out around Halloween, but
well, I think that Pikmin looks like a journey into terror. If you ask me, to be
perfect.
That small.
And when they're killed, they actually turn into little spirits.
That's the tie-in.
And it's ghosts. The worst feeling in the world, actually, when your little Pikmin turn into ghosts.
Paying $60 for a Nightmare Hell Ride in October is something I would not do, but paying $30 for a Nightmare Hell Ride in late August is something I'm more keen on, which is my way of segueing into talking about Mortal Shell having a release date of August 18th. It is coming to PS4, Xbox One, and the Epic Games Store. This is the Soulsborne-esque, like very clearly from soft. Yes, Souls-ish, This is, we got to see this a little bit during Summer of Gaming. It looks really cool. I'm a huge stickler for I guess art direction. It looks like it's kind of doing its own thing, and this manages to pass my fussy nerdy barrier of entry there. I'm dying to get my hands on this because it looks looks like it's definitely got some some Bloodborne and some Dark Souls in there, but hearing that it's $30 is like a nice bonus, and it's not aiming to be like a 90-hour experience unless you really suck at it. It's supposed to be kind of a smaller one, so that's cool. Did any of you get a chance to try the beta that came along?
No, I was waiting for the full release on console.
That's fair, yeah.
I know.
But
go ahead.
You can go ahead, Pat.
No, I'm excited. I think I think one of the things that's going to be interesting when this comes out is like the developers have not been shy about their love of FromSoft games. Like they specifically mention Dark Souls all the time when they talk about their own game, and so whereas there are other like Souls-like games that I think are kind of unfair to be like, how does this compare to Dark Souls, right? I think this one invites that comparison, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they hold up.
Yeah, Mitchell Saltzman, who did a kind of a bit of a write up on what his thoughts were on the beta. He seemed like, you know, kind of cautiously optimistic in that it's very clearly like it wears its influences on its sleeve, but it also it's kind of doing enough of its own thing that it's not just totally like, you know, cribbing their homework. There's like a bunch of stuff happening here. Like specifically, you don't have a port. I don't think you have like a portable like health vial that refills at any checkpoint. Like you don't have blood vials or Estus flasks basically. Whereas if you pull off like a sort of perfect visceral parry, whatever it's called, you recharge some health. But in order to do that, you have to have enough resolve, which is built up by continuing combat fast enough. So basically, you're juggling a bunch of different systems. So if you're completely dying and on the ropes, you're actually rewarded for playing more aggressively, because then you fill up your resolve thing, and then you can pull off one of these gnarly parries and then maybe regain some health. But if you don't, you know, that's a whole thing. And also, as the title would suggest, you're embodying these weird like vessels. Like you're not, if you get down to 1 HP, your soul like leaps out of your body. Like they tell you is what's happening if you sneeze and nobody says bless you. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious about this. I mostly just want to like check out this world because it looks just awful in the right ways. It's all wet and cold and covered in lichen and moss.
I remember, yeah, it looks good. I remember speaking to Mitchell Saltzman about this a few weeks ago on this very same show, actually. And I trust Mitchell. Like he plays a lot of Souls games and reviews a lot of games like this for us. And if he is cautiously optimistic, I think it's pretty safe for everyone to be cautiously optimistic. And I'm surprised that it's coming out so soon because it was just in beta. I didn't actually expect it to come out within the next month, or maybe my sense of time is completely warped. Who knows? But as you were mentioning, I think the most interesting thing about the system is the game's namesake and being able to switch between your shells. And from what I heard from Mitchell, each of the shells, like the characters that you're playing, are different enough that you'll have to alter your play style to excel with each of them, which I always really appreciate in games because it makes it feel different enough to keep the gameplay fresh throughout the entire game.
Yeah, it's super rad. The developers worked on this in secret for years before they like even announced it. So, which is probably why they were able to pivot from an announcement to a beta super quickly and now a release.
Yeah, I mean it's a super small team. We did an interview with them on Summer Gaming, and they were all very enthusiastic and very just like, you can tell they're really just super passionate about this, and like I think they get what FromSoft does enough that they didn't want to just like out of respect that, you know, there's that whole thing of like the best both flattery is imitation, but you know at the same time you don't want to just be like, look, I made yours just like or mine just like yours, and it's like it looks like crap. It's like, so I think they're, you know, kind of doing their own thing here. I saw that you know, there were some people in the comments regarding the beta being sort of like, I don't know. It's like, not loving the whole blocking system. Has you basically, like, you can turn into stone or something, but it uses, it has a cooldown time. So if you're, you know, and then I guess dodging uses a fair amount of stamina. So like, again, these are so like, these types of games, for them to be tough but fair, they have to be fair. And if they're too fair, they're not tough. And so it's this whole like, you know, little just, and everyone plays games differently too, so who knows? But yeah,
the point of a beta is to sort of tweak those numbers based on feedback.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see exactly how they handle that. And if anybody is you know, mad about it being on Epic Games Store, it is also coming to Steam at some point in 2021. So that's good news. I have no idea. Oh, yeah, sure I do. Yeah, speaking of things that are just gross and horrendous and just suddenly like leap out at you with a disgustingly overly detailed shot and a shrieking noise, Ren and Stimpy is getting a reboot. Yeah, because why make anything new when you can just dust off something from 25 years ago and you know, put it on a streaming platform? So yeah, this is coming to this is going to be on Comedy Central, whatever that means in the coming future. It's been there's basically no word on anything except that it's a thing that exists. There's no idea who's in the writer's room, how many episodes have been greenlit, or when the series will premiere. Exactly. So that's the key thing. I'll get to that in a second. But to set that up, Chris McCarthy, president of Viacom CBS Entertainment and Youth Group, which is a weird title because it makes it sound like he takes kids to the beach on the weekend, says, "We are excited to reinvent this iconic franchise with a new creative team. And our partners at the Nickelodeon Animation Studio," so they're working with Comedy Central, "Ren and Stimpy joins our rapidly expanding roster of adult animation, including South Park, Beavis and Butthead, and Clone High, as we continue to reimagine our treasure chest of beloved IP for new generations." So yeah, that's cool, I guess. Like, it's, I mean, that they're doing that. The big sort of elephant in the room here, which hasn't been even, we didn't even discuss it on the IGN article. Some other sites have sort of brought it up as a point of contention, but also like, it wasn't in the initial press release, which strikes me as like kind of like maybe you should have brought this up. But John Kay, who was the sort of founder of Spoomco and one of the creator of the original Ren and Stimpy, got outed for being extremely awful, for being I mean, if you want to be polite about it, statutory rapist, but if you want to be on the nose, kind of a pedophile. So yeah, he was like he got called out by numerous former teenage girls for basically grooming them from the height of Ren and Stimpy's popularity and being like, "Yeah, come move to Los Angeles. You could be an animator.
You can stay at my house."
Yep. Yeah, like literally.
Really.
So
yeah.
And like, I say this as somebody who grew up with Ren and Stimpy. I love Ren and Stimpy. I still very much appreciate this art style, but like, and like so much what the show was doing, but it's like to hear that side of it is just kind of like, I don't know. Like, it would be kind of cool to see this kicked off to a team of people who grew up with Ren and Stimpy and like have, no connection to the previous team. But, again, it's one of those weird, complicated sort of, bittersweet announcements.
Yeah.
Isn't this like the second reboot of Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah, I mean, it was originally a Nickelodeon kids cartoon, and then MTV picked it up and made it even grosser.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it might have, I don't know if it aired on MTV or not, but it was definitely in that weird era of like 90s Nicktoons that had a lot of sort of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, adult-oriented goofs in there.
Radar.
But then in the early 2000s, Spike TV picked it up.
It was Spike TV,
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And it was the Ren and Stimpy adult party cartoon, which was like definitely allowed to go a little bit more Adult Swim.
I don't know. I feel like if you've already tried one reboot and that didn't stick, maybe you don't try again. I'm way more excited for Clone High's reboot than I am for Ren and Stimpy.
Clone High's super underrated.
I could agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Ren and Stimpy, it did what it was there to do, and it's left its sort of this indelible like influence on what animation can and could be, and it's like we got so many different sort of Ren and Stimpy likes over the years, to the point that Cow and Chicken, even the new, this is weird, but even the new Looney Tunes on HBO Max has some kind of Ren and Stimpy vibes to it. Mm-hmm. Bugs Bunny gets in an arm wrestling contest with Yosemite Sam, and he like does the thing where he like squeezes his muscle down and it just like makes his butt inflate really big, and then he farts out of his mustache, and I'm like, that's like more Ren and Stimpy than Looney Tunes, but like, there wouldn't be any Ren and Stimpy if there wasn't Looney Tunes in the first place. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyone have any passionate thoughts about this matter?
Yeah, I think as much as I love Ren and Stimpy, I think that in our sort of memories, we remember it. We remember the really great, hilarious ones. We don't remember all the ones that are just like a little too gross or a little too disturbing and lacking in humor. Like I said, I loved Ren and Stimpy, like the Happy Joy like bit. When I first saw that, I was literally crying, laughing. I couldn't breathe. It was the funniest thing. I had like posters and I loved it so much. Does it need to come back? I don't know. I think its time is way gone. What's that?
I was just looking at the cartoon on screen. I'm like, what is happening? Like,
wait, have you not seen Ren and Stimpy?
It's just been a long time. I just don't remember the absurdity.
Well, the original series on Nickelodeon was pretty famous for the fact that like they were always late and it was always troubled, and so there aren't a whole lot of episodes, and I think that's probably like for the better, because now everyone sort of remembers it as this amazing, groundbreaking thing, which it was, to be fair. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think Ren and Stimpy overall quality is enough to warrant a reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an odd one. Also, like I was talking about this with Brian Altano because this is what we text each other about. But like a bunch of the comments on IGN were like, a bunch of people just came out to be like, oh, they're going to make it totally PC. They're going to totally water it down. It's like the original Ren and Stimpy was messed up in lots and lots of ways. But as far as I can tell, there was nothing about it that was like politically incorrect or like even really like I don't know what they would do to it to make it more. Like they were in an openly gay relationship on the Spike TV show, and they also lived in a man's mouth together. Like they didn't. I don't know. Like what?
That's always been weird to me. That reminds me of like everything. Every time I talk about the Deadpool needs to be rated R argument, which I mean the movie was, and it ended up being good. But like when people were demanding, at the announcement that it needs to be rated R, I'm like, it's a Marvel comic book. Those comic books are PG-13 by definition. Like Deadpool, aside from one of those like super like far offshoot spin-off things, has never been rated R in the first place. So it's weird that it's like, oh, you can't do Deadpool justice unless the movie's rated R. And I'm like, well, the comic books were never rated R. So
they were approved by the Comics Code of America.
Yeah,
they wouldn't allow you to do anything bad.
Like they went through Marvel, which come on, like PG-13 house. But I mean the movies turned out good, and I think the movies weren't even that vulgar, right? Like it got rated R because the MPAA system itself is just hyper conservative. You show a little blood, you say the F word once, and suddenly you're rated R.
Yeah. No, I mean they did rip him in half in the second one, but
that's pretty good. Baby legs. I remember that.
Anyway, speaking of Marvel and what can and can't be in it, that big old universe, one of the big things that people are either mad about or shaking their head at or just are too tired to care is the absence of Spider-Man in Marvel's Avengers on any video game system that isn't the PlayStation's systems. So Spider-Man's going to be PS4 and 5 exclusive, and that sucks, and it's sort of not really a huge surprise why, but the details got kind of lost in the shuffle, and Crystal Dynamics head Scott Amos did an interview with IGN Japan and said a few things that sort of explain this, but also don't really say much that we wouldn't have sort of assumed. But he said the inclusion of Spider-Man is a unique opportunity for us because of the relationship that PlayStation and Marvel have. That is the only character that we are doing that way, which I feel like kind of just, okay, well, no kidding. Well, I kind of figured that the exclusive PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game and the upcoming Spider-Man Miles Morales maybe had something to do with PlayStation being like, we should have Spider-Man exclusively. But like that doesn't explain what happened there. But I mean, I guess it's nice to hear that we're not going to have any other console exclusive characters. And then the sort of further question is people are asking about like what this means for crossplay and if that's even in the cards.
Oh,
and he said, for crossplay, we have no announcements at the moment. But the beauty of this game is that we're going to be adding onto it for years. So it's one of those things that we have our eye on for what the future could be, which to me sounds like maybe this is a timed exclusive and they can't legally say so or won't say so. Or maybe it's a non-answer. But yeah, I know people are sort of irked about the idea of like, game progression being locked based on what platform you're on.
Doesn't Sony own the rights to Spider-Man and
for movies?
Is there some sort of bleed over?
Undoubtedly, there's people who ride the same elevators in various office buildings or used to, and now they're probably just on the same Slack servers. But like, it doesn't sound like there's anything like. I would guess that just Marvel and Sony have an existing relationship, and so the right person called the right person and probably wrote the right amount of money on a check or what have you.
You know what happened? Marvel was like, we want to put Spider-Man in another movie. And Sony's like, haha, really? Because we're gonna call in a favor for you.
I don't know how separated these departments are. Like, I think technically they're theoretically under different. Like they're different companies on paper, but what does that actually mean in practice? Is this I don't know.
These things are especially with Marvel, considering when the company tried to sell off a lot of its assets back in the 90s and try to buy them back now that they're super successful. It's super weird. Like, did you know Universal owns the film rights to Hulk?
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's why they can't make Hulk movie.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. He can appear in like Thor and the Avengers, but they can't have a solo Hulk movie without Universal's approval, which they got only once for that Ed Norton movie.
It's probably
what
for
about
the best,
the other
honestly.
one?
We don't talk about the Eric Bana Hulk film.
I saw it in the theater.
Remember those dogs? Those big dogs that he had to fight? That was fun.
It's a big poodle, at the end. It was real dumb.
For the Eric Bana Hulk movie was great.
Thank you. That was a good video game. And then the follow-up was Ultimate Destruction, which kicked ass.
It was a good Hulk video game tied to a bad movie.
Yeah, they had a few of those. I mean, the X-Men Origins Wolverine game kicked ass. That was I
forgot about
just
that,
God of War with Wolverine, but then at the end you fight, Ryan Reynolds in sweatpants with his mouth sewed shut as Deadpool or whatever. Yeah, we got a good comment on this, which was from Kid Green Jean, who said, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can, spins web any size, only available on PS5. Hey, here comes the Spider-Man disclaimer, Spider-Man not coming to PC or Xbox, that's cute.
I also wanted to bring up, I know another reason people are especially annoyed about this, and it's very warranted for them to be annoyed that there's a character only coming to one system, but PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 are already getting a bunch of exclusives and things that the other platforms aren't. Like, they are already getting enough things to kind of make people choose PlayStation over the other, and now they are also getting Spider-Man. So it's kind of a lot. They're getting a lot that other consoles aren't getting.
Casey's right. I think they're also getting timed exclusives on special outfits. And plus, if you're a PS Plus subscriber, you get just a bonus package of cosmetic goods for every character that comes out, and that's exclusive for PlayStation. It's nuts.
There's also an exclusive digital edition that comes with extra credits, and I think like a Miss Marvel costume or something. But that comes with other things that other consoles aren't going to have access to either. So.
Yeah, it's a weird move. I mean, we've seen this kind of back and forth across, multiple generations at this point where, for 360, like why would you play Call of Duty on anything but a 360? And then as things rolled into sort of PS4, suddenly it was like, oh yeah, get this stuff exclusively on, like Modern Warfare coming first to PS4 or whatever. And then, I know Destiny had a bunch of stuff that got dropped on PlayStation early. And it comes down to weird business deals. I don't know if they do, focus group testing or something, and they're just like, people who own this console gravitate more towards this thing, or if they're just like, here are the number of consoles in people's homes, which do we want to go with?
I think that's what it is. PlayStation's the clear winner of this current console. And if you look at like polls of what are you going to get next generation? Overwhelmingly, people are saying they're going to get PlayStation 5. So PlayStation 5 Sony has all the leverage. They can do whatever they want. Sony could say, hey, you know what? We've got a new PS Plus called PS Plus Plus Plus. It's $99 a month. And you're going to want it because it only works with PlayStation 5. People will be like, yeah, cool. I love PlayStation. I'll do that. That sounds great. Because they are so far ahead right now. I'm not trying to smack on Xbox or anything.
No, there's actually... I just saw a graphic for a study about brands for a demographic. I think it was like 18 through 34 or something, and the brand with the biggest mental space of people in that age group is PlayStation. PlayStation's number 1, and Xbox and Nintendo are number 9 and 10. So there's that big of a gap between the gaming brands.
Wow.
It is. That one was weird though, right? Like what constitutes as taking space up in your brain?
Yeah, I don't know. But, I think it was probably a bunch of surveys that asked what brand is most important to you in different ways over and over again for them to. Yeah,
I know if you go to any comment section about Xbox, 90% of them are like, PlayStation's better, Xbox has no game. So maybe they just went to the comment section.
Maybe they did.
Well, anyway, if anybody's going to be clipping out any part of that conversation, I just want to say right now that I had no part of it. I was sitting quietly thinking about how much I love superheroes. Anyway, another thing that I do love sometimes is Ridley Scott movies. More recently, less so, I guess, ? And we got a trailer for the upcoming Ridley Scott produced / partially directed HBO Max series, which is called Raised by Wolves. It's going to be premiering September 3rd. This looks kind of bonkers and also kind of like what Westworld Season 4... Like, if you were like, Westworld Season 4 trailer and showed me this, I'd be like, that seems about right.
Yeah.
but it's also, I don't know, it's Ridley Scott, so I'll give it a chance. But it's also Ridley Scott because it's got some androids in it, and they're doing android stuff and dreaming of electric sheep and whatnot, and talking about Three Little Pigs, and yeah. So what do you all make of this thing? Matt, you were the first one to watch the trailer of anyone because some of us do our homework on the bus. Seth, Matt, what did you think?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm with you, man. I miss old Ridley Scott. I don't think Ridley Scott's had a good hit on his hands in a long while, and he's kind of just been pushing out these like sci-fi blockbusters for a while, and this looks like that. I guess it's fine. I'll give it a shot.
It's definitely Promethean looking.
Yeah. I have HBO Max. Why not? But
what else are you going to do in September? Go outside?
Exactly.
Yeah. Seth, what was your takeaway from Raised by Wolves, the number one Three Little Pig adaptation? Yeah. All right.
Super stoked. I wish I had watched it earlier, but this looks cool as hell. I'm gonna watch this. It's got a little baby in the gelatin.
Yeah, it's definitely got some Death Stranding in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, this trailer is making me wonder, like, should I get HBO Max in September so I can watch this?
Yes, HBO Max kind of rules. Actually, there's like I'm like pretty happy with it. It's got the new Looney Tunes. It's got a bunch of old Godzilla, Kurosawa movies. It's got like really old Looney Tunes, like the one where Porky Pig has to hunt down a mad bomber so he can buy milkshakes. Because I'll pay whatever. $9 a month to watch a cartoon from 1937. I'm stupid.
I know. HBO Max also has the entire Studio Ghibli movie library as well. By the way, I still have your Nausicaa Valley of the Wind Blu-ray, Max.
That's okay. I have HBO Max. I can watch it on there then, I guess.
Perfect.
much inferior streaming quality. And not through my Roku TV. I have to use my PlayStation 4. Actually, you're probably better off waiting till September. They got some stuff to patch on there. But I mean, I don't know. I like the library a lot. I'm stoked on this because it's like it's a new show. It's something new. I love starting shows and being like, I dropped out after episode 6. I won't stick around for that. But
see, I'm the opposite. I'm like, you got to stick with it. It starts to get real good around episode 8 or 9.
After you've invested 72 hours, it really starts to pick up.
I'm confident in dropping things no matter, like, I don't believe in the sunk time fallacy.
Sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, exactly.
Fallacy,
I could be like 30 pages away from finishing a book, and if it just does something incredibly stupid that I hate, I'll just stop reading it.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, that's madness. I would never do that.
It's
know how long it takes me to get 30 pages from the end of a book? I will read 250. I'll read the first third of any book, and then I'll stop there. And sometimes I'll come back 3 years later and finish it and love it. But other times, never.
Books are a weird example, right? Because like by the time you're like 30 pages from the end, it's usually like there's nothing that it did wrong. Like I'm usually into a book by that point. I guess like TV shows might be a better example. Like I've dropped shows before season finales or like a couple episodes before season finales. Like I'll get far into it and then just never finish a season if it does something bad.
Huh. Well. Raised by Wolves premiering on HBO Max September 3rd, starring the androids and the wolves or what have you.
And the guy from Vikings.
Yeah, the guy Ragnar the Red is in that. Yeah. People are pretty stoked on that. So I don't know, it could be a good time. It's got androids, telekinesis, monsters of some sort, geodesic domes. I'm in there. I'll check it out.
I'm into it.
Gelatin babies. Why not?
What else?
Did you guys watch the Netflix movie about the android mom? It's like I Am Mother. I Am.
Oh no.
No.
That was good. I recommend that, but it's totally different vibes, but kind of similar, like robot raising children, right?
That's good. Yeah, that sounds, I mean, that's one of the top genres these days is the robots. Could they be parents? Who knows? So speaking of people who directed alien films that I loved from a long time ago, James Cameron released some new concept art from Avatar 2, and I want to talk about it because it's me. But we got this amazing concept art for a crab robot suit that they're going to be wearing in that new film in 18 months when that hits theaters. Maybe look at this. Don't show this. Show the crab suit. You have a picture of the crab suit. Show me the crab. Show me the crab. It's so cool. See, that's the thing. Everyone's like, who is looking forward to Avatar 2? And it's like, guess what? There was a giant mech suit holding a knife in the first one. And everyone always thinks about the blue cats who have ponytail sex with the tree and the horse and the pterodactyl. But they had a robot who had a knife, and that was awesome. It was a great time. It had funny little like slipper feet, so it could walk around in the woods. Robots are great. James Cameron has a wonderful track record of putting them in his movies. He had the power loader in Aliens. He had all of the robots in Terminator. He had the Harrier jet in True Lies. There it is. Look at this thing.
That is a cool robot. That is a cool
robot. It's so bad. It's
Wait
awesome.
a second. That's a Final Fantasy VII boss.
It kind of does.
It is. You got to hit its thermal vents and it's behind, and then use your limit break on it and hide behind the boxes. But yeah, no. So the cool thing about this is, I'm an idiot, and I love toys, and I love big robots, and I love things that are toyetic. And this is one of the most toyetic things I've seen revealed from a movie in a very long time, because it has an alternate form where it takes the shape of a boat. It can be a submarine instead of a crab.
Oh,
it's
wow.
so cool. But yeah, no, they showed off two of them, and I was like, I like the robot, I don't like the boat. And then I looked closer, and I was like, dear God, it's one and the same. The crab tucks in its legs, and then it can just jet around with its little propellers back there. I think Destin's scrambling to find a JPEG to put up on the screen, so I'm just going to vamp for a second. But
we want the boat.
I'm pro crab bot. Still not sold on Avatar 2, but I'm sold on this crab robot.
Yeah, I haven't seen Avatar 1 yet. I know it's on
What?
Disney Plus. Yeah,
it's fine. There's that boat. Look at it's got its little legs tucked in, going for a swim.
I like it.
It's a
I
cool
like
boat.
it a lot.
How have you not watched Avatar 1?
I don't know. I just haven't. I didn't get to see it in the theater, and then it just fell off, and nobody talked about it anymore. I know my friend Devin went and saw it, and he came back to work like the next day, and he's like, I didn't want to leave. He's like, I want to live there. I want to be a blue alien man and live in the trees.
Yeah, no, it's like
he was mad that he had to be
like
back at work.
Pocahontas Aliens Dinotopia. It's a good time. It's cool to look at. It's stupid as hell.
See, you just sold me, because Dinotopia. I
like this idea of Seth going home tonight, or being at home and then just watching Avatar.
Just going downstairs.
Yeah, just being, still where he is. But you watch Avatar first time, and tomorrow in the morning meeting, you're just like blue face paint.
You're like, nah.
I think you should get your kids and your wife together and act real serious and be like, listen, we need to have a family meeting to watch Avatar.
And then get out the blue face paint.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
You could get really into Avatar. 11 years after the phenomenon.
No, that's the joke. Like I've made this running joke with like Brian on Up at Noon of like being the big Avatar fan, and it leaked off into the other parts of IGN, because the thing is, no one really cares about Avatar. Most people are like, yeah, it was all right in 2009. I sure did like the 3D film. Yeah, and like I watched a pirated copy of it on my laptop, not even in 3D, and I was like, this is pretty cool. And then like it wasn't until like 7 years later when I was like, wow, I went and borrowed 3D glasses and watched it. But like the entire selling point was just like, I don't know. I was very excited about. I don't know. I have a lot of faith in James Cameron for making a cool sequel in a world that's already been established, as he's demonstrated with Aliens and Terminator 2, and as the mech suit speaks, the cool mech suit is there. Crab battle.
Crab
Max,
man.
Did you ever go to the Pandora section of Animal Kingdom?
No, I want to.
You have to, when it's open again and people can be around each other, you should go.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I feel like if you were like, do you want to go to Disney World right now in Florida, or do you want to go to an alien planet in a wheelchair? I'd be like, do the alien planet. I'll do a little Jake Sully adventure. Yeah, there's also a director's cut that opens. It explains why people want to get the hell off of Earth, because it's basically just Blade Runner future, and Jake Sully gets in like a bar fight, and it's pretty cool. He also does shots while balancing in his wheelchair. I've seen that movie way too many times. I'm dead serious. You gotta watch the director's cut.
I don't remember any of this stuff, but it's true. He does. James Cameron has a track record of making better number 2 movies. So maybe Avatar 2 will be.
Does anyone know why it's taken so damn long?
Yes, he figured out how to mocap underwater. And he taught Kate Winslet to hold her breath for 12 minutes straight. Like, he's got this long-running thing. They're shooting the damn thing underwater with 12-year-olds. Like, it's bonkers. It's mad.
Kate Winslet is more powerful now than she was before the filming of Avatar 2.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's also like, I think she almost drowned making Titanic, or he like flooded her with ice water or something, and then he was like, hey, you want to come back and be in my Avatar films? And
do another water movie with me?
I saw that first one. It was about the jungle. Sure, why not? And then he's like, surprise! They go to the beach this time. It's Avatar.
Not again, James. You got me. What if he's just trying to finish the job?
Oh no!
His goal. He's trying to kill Kate Winslet with water.
With water.
I mean, he almost drowned Ed Harris in the abyss. Like, there's a whole thing where Ed Harris, like, there's a scene where his like helmet's flooding, and like Cameron wanted to get that take, and like he finished it, and Ed Harris like choked up a bunch of water and punched him in the face and walked off. And he's like,
cool.
We got it. The abyss, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, let's wrap things up. This has been News, Games, and More. We got to talk about the Avatar crab robot. We got to talk about the Spider-Man. All sorts of different arthropods to be discussed on this fine program. Casey, Matt, Seth, thank you so much for hanging out and joining me. And huge thanks to Destin Legary for doing all the behind-the-scenes stuff and pulling up JPEGs of crab robots so that I could talk about them. We'll be back same time tomorrow, and I'll be on up at noon immediately afterwards to do a deep dive on that deep dive of a film known as Avatar 2, I See You, only it's spelled like sea, like the ocean. That's my working title for it. The Shape of Water, coming up next. Stick around.